you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now. Got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now. Got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to LaFleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked the young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TV. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Wednesday, August 16. How is everyone doing tonight? All right, I hope you're doing well. We are live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We are live on Twitter. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do so. The more people subscribe, the more money I make. It's in the contract. It's a beautiful thing. Everyone's happy, especially me. The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, recently named by Deloitte and CIBC as one of Canada's best managed companies, the country's leading business award recognizing innovative and world-class companies. The best managed Canadian companies designation fuels Energy's purpose of creating progress for their customers, their employees, and their communities. Join a winning team and check out Energy's career page for available opportunities. Also brought to you in part by these guys here, La Bittt at Tibi, brewed in Quebec, a winner of a dozen international awards. La Bittt at Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bittt at Tibi, embrace your true nature. And brought to you in part by Playground. Don't miss Playground's August Million Poker Series from August 23rd to September 4th with $1 million in guaranteed prize pools, 7 championship ring events, and a $600,000 guaranteed main event located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. All right, okay. I want to start the show off by giving a shout out. I went to see a soccer game actually I got home about an hour ago. It was in Pierrefonds where the LaSalle senior team was playing versus the Pierrefonds senior team. And, there's a word around town that there's a player that you have to go see on the LaSalle senior team. A lot of people starting to talk about this guy as a late bloomer, somebody who might be able to take the soccer world by storm. So I had to see for myself. His name is Dave Lascella, and he looked a little bit like Paolo Maldini out there tonight. That's the good news. The bad news is I think he's like 30 years old. So the dream is probably over. But we say hello to Dave Lascella. Hey, you never know in life. Take a look at N'Golo Kante. Take a look at Jamie Vardy. I mean, they signed their first professional contract later on, somewhere in their mid-20s or whatever, especially Vardy. Vardy was, 25, 26? I think at one point he was playing like 7th division or whatever, and he just shut up the ranks. Maybe the same thing could happen. Maybe Dave Lascella could end up being the fullback version of Jamie Vardy, who obviously was a striker with Leicester City, and he knows how to score goals. I didn't see Dave score, but maybe next game. Hello, Dave. How you doing, buddy? All right, okay, we got that out of the way. I said hello to Dave. Now I say hello to Grant McCagg of Recruits and Recruits.ca and the Sick Recruits Draftcast. You now have a couple of them under your belt, huh?
Yeah, almost a seasoned vet there like you, Tony.
Yeah, the checks have been coming in already or what, at 100 miles an hour or what?
The checks.
Yeah, did they open up the Swiss bank account?
You're a check or what? Like, what do you mean by checks?
David, you're a check. Yeah, did they open up the Swiss bank account for you yet? No, not yet. It takes a while. Yeah,
not yet.
I'm still waiting too. But hey, you know what? At least we're talking sports, and at least we're happy.
So, Tony, is Messi the GOAT or what?
Messi? I could have told you that a while ago.
I'm in the same boat. I don't like. It's not just the goals; it's the passing. It's everything. Like, I mean, I'm not an expert like you with this stuff, but like when you compare him to Ronaldo, is he not just that much smart, like that much better passer? I think passing is important too in soccer, is it not?
Listen, at one point I liked the debate, and now I kind of hate the debate because you're kind of minimizing the ability of another one. I'll put it this way: when you say a player, in the true sense of the word, play is an ability to actually play with others, and his ability to be able to do it yourself. Messi, you're seeing him right now at 36 years of age, no longer having the stamina, the cardio, the pace, the explosiveness that he used to, and still standing still. He opens up so many seams for so many different players. He draws so much attention to him. And if you really want to analyze the way he plays and just focus on him, you'll see a player that is tracking the field and scanning the field. He's basically taking pictures of all of his surroundings in front of him and behind them, basically the way Gretzky used to do in hockey. Remember we used to say Gretzky used to have eyes behind his head? Messi is the same thing. And so this guy is a gift from God. He really is. You know, the trophies say he's the best player in the world. I've never seen a player like him before. I think he's very, very original in what he does and the way he plays. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is an amazing goal scorer, and he excites me a lot as well. But I think, you know, listen, 7 Ballon d'Ors. Before he came to the league, they said, well, you know what? Wayne Rooney said he would have a hard time in the MLS adapting. A lot of people said he'd have a hard time because the players around him are not going to be at his level. Now we're realizing that he's made everyone around him better. He went to a team that was last in the league, and they're beating everybody. They disposed of one of the best teams in the league yesterday in Leagues Cup. They're going to the final, which they're going to play on Saturday in Nashville. They've already qualified for the CONCACAF Champions League. Hey, listen to this. I'll tell you a story, okay? You ready for this? This is amazing, okay? This is amazing. So when Inter Miami signed Messi, I put a few dollars on Inter Miami, who was dead last in the league and last by a lot. I put a few dollars on Inter Miami to go to the final of the MLS Cup, okay? Most of these games that they've been winning since he's been here, they're Leagues Cup games. They don't count for the standings. They're a separate competition. They're not MLS games, all right? So these wins that you're seeing here, they're not picking up points in the standings. They're still dead last in the league. If I cash out today on my bet that I put on them to go to the final, when I bet on them, like 5 weeks ago, they were last, and 5 weeks later, they're still last. If I cash out today, I make 65% profit on my money. Have you ever heard of something like that? I bet on them that they were last. They're still last with less games to play than when I bet on them. And if I cash out, I'll make 65% profit.
It's just amazing. And you see on social media, like all the criticisms, and it's like, come on. It's not the greatest league.
Yeah, those are haters. Yeah, whatever.
It's not the greatest league in the world, but what he's doing is just incredible. And I have so much respect for him. The last World Cup, just before that, everything. Like he reminds me of Gretzky. Like you have to take into account just how smart he is. It's just I have nothing but respect for him. He's made me more of a soccer fan than I ever was before. So I'm going to tell you this.
A lot of people that are criticizing him are either A, haters, because they don't think he's the best player in the world and they think someone else is. B, they are worried. They probably don't like the sport, and they don't like the momentum that he's given the sport in North America, and in particular in the United States. I think they're worried that soccer is going to pass some of the other pro sports in North America, And so they just want to crap on him. He's in a can't-win situation because if he would have done nothing in this league, the haters would have said he sucked and he was overrated. And now that he's doing something, they're saying that the other players are no good and the other teams are no good. Let me ask you this to all those people. If the league is so bad and the players are so bad, then why don't other players do what he does?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
No, he's amazing.
He's another level. Players like this, they come around every 100 years. And when they do, we just have to, bow and say, wow, you're absolutely unbelievable. So I'm really enjoying watching him play, what he's done for the league, what he's done for viewership, what he's done for the Miami Instagram. You know that out of all the pro soccer teams in the world, in the last week, the team that has been searched up on social media more than any other team in the world is Inter Miami. I think about that for a second.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Anyway, do you know the story that I got 4 tickets to see him play next week? Do you know that story?
No.
You don't know that? Let me show you this. This is something here. This is something. Let me go to Ticketmaster so I can show you. Okay, let me go to Ticketmaster so I can show you.
Are we going to a game on the 28th? Has that been confirmed yet? Or
here's the deal.
Okay.
All right, you see this? You see that?
Kind of. New York Red Bulls.
Yeah. All right. So February 16th, and we'll get to the Canadiens in just a second, folks. It's going to be one of these nights. All right. So February 16th, I wake up that day and I start, just going on the internet, and I'm like, Messi's going to play in the MLS. That's just February 16th. I said, Messi's going to play in the MLS. So I'm like, where is he going to play? Where is he going to play? If he goes to play, then I'm thinking about the whole Beckham thing. And I remember reading that Messi had bought 2 condos in Sunny Isles, and one of which was like 5.73 million US, and he's got the entire 9th floor for himself. And by the way, his car goes into the condo complex, and then there's kind of like an elevator that brings the car up to his floor. Basically, his car can go into his house. And I remember reading that, and I'm like, you know what? He's going to go to Miami. So I go on the website and I go trying to buy tickets for the game, and there's tickets that are sold out. But folks, for all of you who are in the chat, okay, Le Classeur, sorry, it's getting boring. Bye. Go on the other websites. Go play with whatever you want to play with. All right. Grant started. I'm gonna finish it, but I have to say this story. All right. If you don't want me to, I have to say the story. Hey, folks, there's 1 million sports podcasts in the country. There's one of them that hasn't stopped working all year, that hasn't taken vacation at all, even though I have 15 weeks vacation of television, 12 weeks vacation of radio. And instead of taking 12 to 15 weeks vacation of podcast, I've decided to continue. Why? Because we've made it appointment time. It's become a ritual. It's become an appointment. I love you. You love me. So I've decided to keep on doing it. And I'm actually going to leave town next week, and I'm going to bring my laptop and my microphone and my headset with me, and I'm going to podcast from there. Okay? So you know what? Let me just finish my story here. Please. Thank you very much. So here's my story. So I go to try and buy tickets February 16th, and I try and buy tickets in Miami, and it tells me that you can't buy tickets at this time, whatever. So what do? I try and look for other games, and I find Asifer Rahman says, God forbid you have to work. No, it's not God forbid that I have to work, Asifer. I like to work, as a matter of fact. All I said was I didn't take vacation this year, and everyone else that does this business, they did. If you don't believe me, go check. You're going to see there's a bunch of them, right? Because in the summer, people take vacation. In the summer, people play golf. In the summer, people go to the pool. In the summer, people go to the beach. In the summer, people go to the cottage. Can they bring the laptop with them? Yes. Do they want to? No. I'm working. I'm not complaining that I'm working. I'm just saying I didn't take any vacation. Now, Asifer, if we can, Shane Gaumont at Master Control. I want you to block Asifer Rahman for the rest of his life. There's no pardon. There's no 2 weeks suspension, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Block him for the rest of his life. With his IP address, he can never log on to the Sick Podcast again, ever. Let's get back to the story. Thank you. All right, okay. So I end up finding tickets Saturday, August 26th at Red Bull Arena in Jersey versus the Red Bulls. I end up finding tickets at center half, the best tickets in the place.
Wow.
And I could have bought first row, to tell you the truth. But you know, when you're a little bit higher, you see a little bit better. So absolutely. I bought 4 tickets in the 4th row. 4 tickets in the 4th row. I paid $93 each. There are people on the different websites that are asking $10,000 a ticket US right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but listen, I don't think they're going to get the $10,000 US a ticket.
Are things confirmed for us going to a game in October yet?
We are. You and I are going to a game last Saturday of October. We're going with Paul, who's a diehard Habs fan, who's invited us. He's got 3 tickets against the glass. The Canadiens are playing the Winnipeg Jets, and we're invited. It's confirmed. We're going. Okay, we're going.
That'll be a hoot.
Now, you ready for the kicker?
Yeah.
The game on Saturday?
Yeah.
So my son made a first division team in Portugal.
Good.
And it's his first game of the season on Sunday, the 27th of August. So I wanted to surprise him by showing up to his game and going to his game. So while this game is going on and I got these tickets for this game in Jersey, I'm going to be on a plane going to Portugal so I can go straight to my son's game on the Sunday. So that's my story. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise now because if he watches the podcast, but then again, he's a soccer guy. So anyway, I don't know if he's watching. Well, he's not watching now because right now I could tell you it's 3:18 a.m. So he's sleeping. All right. But anyway, it'll probably get to his attention tomorrow. But anyway, so that's it. So I'm gonna be in Portugal while I'm gonna be on a plane while this game is going on. So anyway, that's the story. All right, okay. The reason why I got you on tonight is because monitoring your Twitter account, as I always do, I noticed that you broke down Gustav Lindstrom's game. Very unfortunately, because of copyright laws, okay?
Yeah.
We can't play the clips, I've been told. All right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty hard for you to actually break that. It would have been it's not going to be hard, but it would have been so much better for you to break down the game or break down his game, the strengths and weaknesses of his game while showing the clips. But we can't do that because if we do that, we're basically going to get, 1 strike against us on YouTube and 3 strikes, you're out. And we've been trying to build this YouTube channel for 3 years. So we obviously don't want any strikes against us. So, which games did you watch? How many clips did you take a look at, sequences? And what did you come up with?
I looked at his last game. I like to look at, the most recent game. So it was the end of the regular season against Tampa. They lost 5-0. Not really a fair game to you want to look at something else other than a 5-0 loss. So I went back and found his game that he scored a goal and an assist in, and they beat Vancouver 6-1. So you get a bit of a yin and yang there, so to speak. But he actually wasn't bad in the Tampa game, really. But I was quite impressed.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you got to put in perspective that this is a 24-year-old Swede that's played 128 NHL games so far.
I gave Joe Valeno a call, by the way, a couple of hours ago to see if he could join us on the podcast tonight to tell us a little bit about Gustav Lindstrom. but he already had something planned, an outing planned. But he said that he'll come on in the next couple of days or the next week or so here. So please continue. So for those who are wondering, Joe Veleno will join us at some point here, and he'll tell us a little bit more about Gustav Lindstrom, the player and the person. But Grant, back to you on what you saw.
Well, I think they call him Gus.
Okay,
that's not much of a reach, but
Gus,
he's a really good skater, 6'2". His outlet passes are right on the tape, which I think the Canadiens forwards are going to love. Like, I was thinking back to 4 or 5 years ago when Alsner, Schlemko, Jordy Ben, guys that could just bounce it off the boards and get it out. Like, that was their, they weren't leading you with a pass coming out of the zone too often. This kid, it's a complete transformation in the style that the Canadiens defensemen are going to be playing. He's really good one-on-one, good defender, good mobility, tight gaps, good first pass out of the zone. I mean, if you just look at his stats and say, well, okay, third pairing and didn't have a lot of points. Well, it goes beyond that, especially when you watch him play. I think it's quite interesting that you have to dig deep on these things whenever you look at it. Like, the fact is that he played behind Sider and Philip Hronek for the last 2 years. Hronek got traded at the deadline. That's fine, but they're the top two pairing defensemen on, and he wasn't about to beat those guys out as a rookie, and he's a young defenseman. So he was third pairing, didn't get offensive opportunity. You look back at his, I remember him in his draft year. The kid, he played in one U19 event, and he outscored Jesper Bratt.
Me too.
He's a defenseman, and I mean, Bratt's a very good player for the. I think he just signed like a big contract with the
like $60 million something with the New Jersey Devils. Yeah,
I mean, he had more points than him in the one event that he played in that year as an underage in a junior event, and he played junior that year and had 10 points in 6 games. Well, ever since then, I mean, he got called up, obviously, to the Allsvenskan, so he's playing against men as a 17-year-old, and has played against men ever since. So, the stats don't look great, but if you put in perspective of how he looked when he played against his peers, he had offensive potential. And he goes to Detroit, he's behind Hronek and Sider, who are offensive defensemen. So he wasn't about to beat either of them out in the top two pairing. So he got asked to play third pairing with Robert Hagg this year. Well, he's going to go from that to playing with either Matheson or Gooley in the top two pairings with the Canadiens this year. That I would say is a step up. So I think we're going to see more offense from him and more of his all-around ability, because he can really pass a puck and skate. So it's all about opportunity in a lot of times. And it's just like with Newhook, he's going to get more opportunity with the Canadiens this year than he got in Colorado. And I really like how
but at the same time, I think, if I can, Grant, pardon me, I think what concerns, and by the way, it's not because Detroit traded him that Detroit is right and Montreal is wrong and that he won't pan out, okay? And because some teams are right, some teams are wrong, and this happens all the time. Sometimes it's a question of fit, like you said, and one player is a better fit somewhere else. Sometimes it's some players take a little bit longer. I think what people are somewhat worried about is if Detroit is a team that has gone through a rebuilding phase over the last couple of years, and they probably started their rebuilding a little bit before the Montreal Canadiens did. Why would they want to part ways for a 24-year-old defenseman and obtain a defenseman who will be 36 in December? I think that's the concern.
Because they traded Hronek. So they had to replace Hronek. And they did it with Petry.
I got it.
I'm not, I like what Hughes is doing over, with all due respect to Steve Yzerman. Like even Detroit fans are wondering, like, sure, you try to speed up the rebuild, but they just went overboard with the try to win now thing. And I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs, to be honest with you. Like they picked up Perron and Kopp and on and on, all these, DeBrincat, all these moves that they made when I don't know that they're ready to make that step, but they've decided that they're going to try to make the playoffs this year. And Hughes is being a little more patient. And I agree with his approach. They traded away Hronek, but then they turn around and they, we got to replace him.
Yeah.
Because we got DeBrincat, we got this guy, we got Perron, we got these guys. So we're trying to win now.
Yeah, but they're also trying to maybe find the balance on defense, trying to have as many young guys as older guys. And maybe there's the other thing that they wanted to reunite Petry and Sherrod, who played together, of course.
Right. Sure. They're trying to win now. And let's not forget that the fellow that scouted and that obviously loved Lindstrom was Håkan Andersson.
Yeah.
He's not been wrong too many times. He, Datsuk, Zetterberg, Thomas Holmstrom.
Cynics will tell you that he's lucky because if he really knew that those players were that good, he wouldn't wait till a 5th or a 7th round to draft them.
Oh, well, yeah,
right.
Sure.
I think there's only so many times you can get lucky at one point.
Right.
You got to be good, right?
Well, there's two ways of looking at that, but I was looking. Nicholas Kronwall even is an example, and I got thinking, let's have a look at when Kronwall, developed as a defenseman and he broke out at 25 in the NHL. Up until then, he wasn't a regular at the NHL level, and most NHL defensemen aren't till they're 23, 24. Why not take a flyer on this kid that Håkan Andersson loved, that the two scouts that I talked to today loved, that I was quite high on in this draft year.
I think the other kid's going to be good too, by the way. Edvinsson, the other Swedish defenseman that they drafted. What was it? 2 years ago, he was what do you go 5th, 6th? I think he's going to be good too. So there's another guy, Håkan Andersson.
Yeah, and I don't know that he even gets in the lineup this year. I think they're going to send him back down for a year. With like they picked up Gostisbehere, Petry, Hull.
He really likes taking Swedes. Back in 2020, remember their first 3 picks? Lucas Raymond, William Wallinder, and Theodor Niederbach, all of them playing out of Sweden. The first 3 picks.
Berggren's another one.
Yeah.
And he just started to develop last year. So I have Håkan Andersson's one of the more highly respected scouts in the league. And if he, they took him at 38th overall, Lindstrom, and he's still only 24 years old. So from what I've looked at and what I think the Canadiens are offering more opportunity, he's going to be on the second pairing with either Matheson or Gooley. And that's a huge step up from Robert Hagg. And that alone will help his game. The fact that he'll have a better defense pairing, he'll get better opportunity. And I think those point totals are going to go up this year.
So for you, Gustav Lindstrom's in the Montreal Canadiens top 6. There's no doubt about it.
I think he'll be on the second pairing.
You think he'll be on the second pairing, eh?
Well, I think, Kovacevic is ideally
Kovacevic, yeah.
Yeah, Barron, I think, goes back to Laval. And Logan Mailloux won't be quite ready yet. Weidman, I think, will probably be put on waivers.
I agree with you.
And Lindstrom will be on the second pairing. That's the way I see it.
So look, that's a big time interesting take. Here we are tonight. Tonight we're August 16th. All right. So things can change between now and opening night, which is just going to be under 2 months away. But I'm going to go with Lindstrom to start on a third pair and Kovacevic to start on a second pair. That's the way I see it for now.
Well, they traded for him for a reason, and I think the opportunity's there. Kovacevic is ideally a third pair guy.
You're right.
And Lindstrom's got more offensive upside. He's a better skater. I don't see why there's any reason why he won't be on the. But I mean, it's semantics. They're all, they're whatever it is. It's going to be second or third pairing. I think it's probably going to be the second pairing. And as I say, he's going to go from playing. Mm-hmm. He played behind. He wasn't going to beat out Ronick or Seider in the top two pairing. That doesn't mean he can't be a second pairing defenseman. It just means that he didn't have the opportunity.
I got you.
He's got to beat out Jonathan Kovacevic. He's going from having to beat out Ronick to having to beat out Kovacevic. Who's the better defenseman, Tony?
So what's the story with Justin Barron? Are you somewhat worried that knowing that and then there's Mailloux probably the year after that Barron, well, what point does he end up fitting in here when David Savard's traded eventually? Or
he's 21 years old.
I hear you.
Larry Robinson was playing for the Nova Scotia Voyageurs when he was 21 years old. You don't rush these guys, He's don't rush them. He doesn't have to go on waivers, so it's ideal. He goes down. They liked the way when he came back from his stint in the AHL last year.
Was good.
Yeah, well, give him another stint and he'll be even better. The next time he'll be even better when he comes back up. And it'll be when Savard's traded at the deadline, probably. Mm-hmm. And that fits perfectly. Let him cook in the AHL along with all the other, it's going to be so fun to watch Laval this year. I think I'd almost have preferred if the game, got tickets to go to a game on the 28th in Laval as opposed to Montreal. I think they might even be more exciting to watch this year because they're just like Rob Ramage said there. It's just going to be so fun to watch the young prospects in Laval. There's going to be a group of them coming up. Mailloux and Barron on the top pairing. It's going to be fun to watch.
Listen, I don't know if you had a chance to see Dan Petry's video clip on social media. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
All right. So you're going to like this. So for those who aren't aware, Dan Petry, of course, is Jeff Petry's dad. He's a former Major League Baseball pitcher. He played for the Detroit Tigers. He played for the California Angels. He played for the Atlanta Braves, and he played for the Boston Red Sox. And today he's a studio analyst for Detroit Tigers on Bally Sports Detroit. Take a look at this.
Standard for happy fathers that has been reached today. That was fine, but earlier today it was made official that Dan's son Jeff has been acquired by the Detroit Red Wings and brought home from Montreal for Gustav Lindstrom and a fourth-round pick. When this all came together finally, Dad, your reaction was what?
John, I mean, you can imagine that when this happens, you think back to how it all comes full circle. I mean, all the parents out there and the youngsters out there, that play hockey, you start at such a young age and there's a lot of cuts and a lot of teams made, but a lot of them you don't. And then it's just a vicious cycle. You never think it's ever going to happen. And then now you get a chance to watch your son play for the team that he grew up idolizing with, of course, that iconic jersey. It's going to be very, very special, and hopefully I can get to a lot of games and maybe continue to bother John Keating a little bit.
Well, there's father and son right there, both heroes now in the Detroit sporting landscape. Dad for so long with the Tigers, and Jeff getting a chance with the Red Wings, a right shot defenseman, which the Wings can use, 35 years of age, add some some veteran leadership on the blue line. But here's the real troubling aspect of this, because Dan knew about this last week. Did he share any of this with me? No, not a bit. Even though he knew, I'm asking him about the possibilities of where Jeff might be traded. Yeah. No, zip. So I know I've lost. I've lost everything I had for you.
I know, and Mary Beam too. I had to keep it from our producer, our lovely producer, Mary Beam. But if Chris Ilitch is watching, hey, know that my lips were sealed. I didn't want to do anything to mess up that deal.
Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
There you have it. If Chris Ilitch is watching, of course, of the Ilitch family and the Detroit Red Wings, I didn't do anything to mess up the deal. So Dan knew that they were talking, and it was just a question of time. So they were talking for at least a week. But, I mean, without saying it, we kind of already knew this, right? Kent Hughes wanted to make Jeff Petry happy. And then at the same time, he could add assets to his club, and he can improve his club. And Jeff Petry wanted to go back to Detroit and play for his hometown team and be reunited with, the entire family, his parents. And so he accommodated him, and he did him a favor.
Right. And I think they got a good return anyways, too. So favor both ways. But it's funny where you hear criticisms about, because of what Julie Petry had been saying on social media and all that, and the acrimonious split, so to speak, that, why would you send him where he wants to go? Well, I think that's exactly what you do. You don't let emotions get in the way. You do the classy thing.
Yeah.
And, it's only going to help in the future when players want to come to play in Montreal if they respect the GM and how he treats players. I think it's nothing but it bodes well for the future for the Canadiens as well.
Mike Gravel on YouTube Live says he's going to do the same thing, or he would do the same thing for Monahan. And that's a good point. He will do the same thing for Monahan.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. Also, a lot depends on what happens this year. I think the Canadiens might surprise and be a little better than teams think and fans think. And they may want to keep, if Monahan has a good year, he obviously loves Montreal for him taking that deal to come back again, because he could have signed that anywhere. I think you could see Monahan staying around for a few years, because he's still not, I think he's 28.
No, it's possible. But, if they decide to move him, I would bet you that Kent Hughes will keep him abreast of every single conversation. And then we'll tell him in the end, listen, Sean, these are the teams that are interested. And if you tell me where you want to go, I'll try to accommodate you. And listen, in the last 20 years, the Canadiens had a couple of general managers. One traded a player after the period, like in between periods. And another general manager fired a coach after the second period.
Yeah.
And so this is...
And another one drafted a player top 3 and then let him sign an offer sheet to go to another team. So emotions sometimes get in the way, I think. And I think it's complete class of what we saw from Kent Hughes. And I think that it was great that he had the, that he didn't take it personally, and Petry wanted to go to Detroit. Detroit wanted him. That's where he's from.
Yeah.
It was a good fit. So why not trade him there?
Let's, all right. Okay. So you had a great conversation with Rob Ramage that I want to get to in a second. Not before I talk to you all about Murphy Clinic, folks, which is an aesthetic clinic specializing in medical aesthetic care. They offer permanent laser hair removal, as well as a wide range of treatments for skin problems such as acne, rosacea, fine lines, and more. They currently have 2 clinics, one located in Montreal Shop Angus and the second on the North Shore in Terrebonne. They're also opening soon in Quebec City. Visit murphyclinic.ca or on Instagram at Murphy Clinic. I'd also like to give a shout out to Charlie and his staff, and Sam and Stanley and everyone over at Optimal Stretch Clinic, Fascial Stretch Therapy. couple of days ago. Was it yesterday? As a matter of fact, I went in for a deep tissue sports massage, and it hit the spot. And I'm going for a fascial stretch session on Friday morning. They're at 4710 at St. Ambroise in Point St. Charles. If it's good enough for Marinaro, it's good enough for you. Trust me when I tell you that. All right, okay. Rob Ramage, Director of Player Development for the Montreal Canadiens. You were on the phone with him for 2 hours?
Almost, yeah.
Oh, geez.
The man can talk. I love it.
I don't remember when was the last time I was on the phone for 2 hours. 2 hours.
Yeah. And he had the grandkids there, so he had to get going, or we'd have kept. There was still a few guys I wanted to ask him about, but when you're trying to get info on 30 different prospects, and when you're talking to a man that can talk your ear off, it was great. So
at the end of the day, 30 different prospects, 4 minutes per prospect is 120 minutes. Is 2 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was almost 7,000 words when I got it transcribed. It took me 6 hours to transcribe it yesterday. So I was busy just with that more than anything.
That's unbelievable. And the good news about the recruits guide, Grant's independent scouting service, of course, and you can check it out at recruits.ca, is now that they have monthly subscriptions as well. So you don't have to advertise, or you don't have to subscribe, per year. You can subscribe monthly with the fees going, I believe, if memory serves me well, anywhere between $199 to $349. Is that right? Or am I getting that wrong?
$199 to $399.
$199 to $399 per month.
For everything. The whole kit and caboodle is $4 a month Canadian, which is about $3 US. So it's quite a deal.
It's the deal of a lifetime, to tell you the truth. All right, okay. So without giving everything away, because we do want some people to subscribe, let's be honest here. What can why don't we just end it with Logan Mailloux, right? Because he talked to you about 30 prospects, like you said, but once again, without giving it all away, let's maybe talk about one or two prospects. One especially, Logan Mailloux, who yesterday or a couple of days ago, I had this chat with Eric, and we were saying that Gary Bettman hasn't come down on Mailloux yet, saying whether he's eligible to play, and we believe that Eric had a good point, and I agree with him, that Bettman will probably weigh in to see if Mailloux would make the team, which no one's expecting him to, let's be honest. And if he doesn't, then he'll probably say that he'll revisit in a year, or he'll be eligible next year. But if he is to make the team, then we imagine that he would be eligible as of this year. But we believe that Bettman is probably waiting to see what's going to happen with Mailloux and the Canadiens in terms of pro camp and making the team or not. So where did Ramage stand on this? The fact that we're still waiting to hear whether or not he's going to be eligible or not.
I don't see that happening, Tony. I think it's going to be decided before camp. It should be sometime over the next, because the AHL will do whatever the NHL, like he's going to make the decision on whether he plays NHL, AHL. Like the AHL isn't going to turn around and say, well, okay, the NHL is not going to allow you to play, but we're going to allow you to play. Typically they follow in step with the NHL.
That makes sense.
So I don't see this. He's going to make a decision on Mailloux, I think, before training camp. Hopefully soon. Tony, you're distracting me a bit.
Sorry, it's hot in here. The air conditioning's not working tonight. I'm about to pass out. Go ahead.
Well, I think, like I asked Ramage about it, and he said, well, you got a direct line to the Pope, like your guess is as good as mine, in other words, that when it'll happen. But he made good points about the fact that Bettman's got a lot on his plate. He's got he's got to make a decision on Joel Quenneville being reinstated. Apparently they were together at the Rocky Wirtz's funeral last week in Chicago. And the rumor is that he's going to reinstate Quenneville to allow him to be able to be a NHL coach again. He's got to make rulings on the Hockey Canada stuff with those kids, I think that's probably coming first, he figures, and then Logan after that. But it would have made sense to do it in August when hockey's not really the main subject, and it gives a little while, because every time anything to do with Mailloux comes along, there's a big hoopla for a week or two on social media. And if you do it right before the start of training camp, I don't think that's the ideal timing.
No.
But I understand what he's saying, where the Hockey Canada players and Quenneville might take precedence at this point and get those out of the way, and then he'll decide on Mailloux. But I can't see him not making a decision, because the AHL typically follows in step with the NHL, and they're not going to allow him to play. Like, the AHL is not going to turn around and say, well, you can play here, but you can't play in the NHL. I don't think that's going to happen.
They're taking their time, because they're just so, they're just worried about what some people are going to say and stuff like that. And I think even Mailloux told Ramage, like, I'm being a good person here. Like, I've done everything people are asking me to do and more. Like, what is it going to take, right?
Yeah, that was exactly, I have almost 800 words from Ramage talking about Ramage has played junior hockey in London, right? And he's got ties there. And he
took over for Dale Hunter as coach when Hunter went to coach the Capitals.
He spent more time with Mailloux than any other prospect in the last 2 years. And also with what happened with Ramage, there's extra stuff there, where he's really been just a great mentor for the kid, because of what he went through with the with the drinking and driving and killing his buddy, the whole works. It just, and he owns it, and he says it in the in the interview. He's quite candid about it, and I think he's been a great influence on Logan, and steering him in the right direction. And hopefully everything gets resolved, because the kid just wants to play hockey, and he truly is contrite. I've talked to him. I did an interview that I'm waiting until after the Bettman ruling. I made an agreement with the Canadiens where I'd hold off on the story until after that. They asked me as a favor, and I said sure. And but he's very contrite. I really believe he's sincere about that, and has done a lot of work on it. And I really think that people need to move on with it and let the kid, have a livelihood.
I hear you. So what do you have to say to my buddy, Userpent, the snake? Simon, the snake, Userpent Boisvert, who says, in his opinion, gotta love this guy, that Mailloux is overrated, only did well in junior hockey with London because he was bigger and stronger than everyone else. It won't translate to the next league, where there's going to be a lot of bigger and stronger players. I don't know how much bigger you can be than 6'4.5", 6'5", 220. But anyway, but he believes that if Mailloux ends up, because he believes Mailloux's an AHL defenseman, he believes that if Mailloux ends up playing in the National Hockey League, he'll be a 6th, 7th depth defenseman, max 8 minutes per game. What do you have to say? Even though he's not here, I'll make you say it anyway, because I gave him a piece of my mind. What do you have to say to Serpent?
Well, we touched on this before, I think about a month ago. And
no, but I like when you keep on giving him jets, because he's watching it. He's watching. Give it to him. Give it to him.
Well, I try not to be too critical of Simon. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
but
great guy.
Obviously I disagree.
Yeah.
And I think Rob Ramage disagrees, and NHL scouts that I talked to disagree, and Dale Hunter obviously disagrees, or he wouldn't have played him 30 minutes a game in the OHL finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's
30 minutes.
He's going to be a top four. He's going to be a top four defenseman. I have absolutely no doubts about that. And I think he'll be a 20-goal scorer in his best years in the NHL. So that's not a 6-7 in my mind, Tony.
No, it's not in my mind either. Listen, we all know the ability to play the puck, skate, stick handle, playing the puck. Their best prospect is Hudson. But if you take a look at the entire package where you add in size and physicality and athleticism, at that point, you'd probably have to say that the best prospect is Mailloux. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
So what is, did he touch on how much he thinks, how close or not Mailloux is to the dance? Did he touch on that?
Not really. He's a little careful with that because, those aren't his decisions, obviously. But he does think that he's a lot better defensively than a lot of people have given him credit for. And we saw the improvement just in 1 year. He's still, he's in the same boat as me where the kid hasn't even played 100 junior hockey games, and he was a 30-minute a night defenseman in the OHL final and led his team to the finals. So we both respect Dale Hunter's player evaluations 100%. If he's playing a kid 30 minutes a night and he leads him to the OHL finals with a backup 17-year-old goalie after their starter gets hurt, that translates really well to the NHL. And
because they had to protect the goalie, right? So everyone had to buckle down.
Well, it'll be fun to see Barron and Mailloux go down. And I guess, I was saying that top pairing, but I suppose they're both right defensemen. So theoretically, they're likely going to be on different pairings, but they'll be battling it out to see which guy gets called up if they trade Savard at the trade deadline, which we all suspect. And
so within 3 years, and I say 3 but within 3, I'm comfortable in saying it. Within 3 years, Logan Mailloux and Lane Hudson will be at the point on the power play, first unit.
I would say that. And such a nice compliment with Mailloux's bomb and Hudson's ability to set people up.
The big question is, will Gouli and Reinbacher be on the second unit?
Probably, but it's you can never, like I've tried to predict these things in the past with defensemen and you try to predict the top 6 and this and that, and it never turns out.
No.
Within 2 or 3 years, one of the defensemen we mentioned may not even be with the Habs. You just there's going to be some. Engstrom could be, like, he's another guy. William Trudeau, those guys are both going to be NHL defensemen. Both have been playing power play.
Yeah,
both are impressive. Jack-Eye he's got a bomb. He could be on, like, there's a lot of.
Cheeseburger has a good point. He says probably not, because Reinbacher and Gouli will probably be on the number 1 unit on the penalty kill.
Well, that there's that too.
Yeah,
I suspect they'll be the main penalty killers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that doesn't mean like Miro Heiskanen plays on the top penalty kill, but is he on the power play too? Yeah. I mean, if you're good enough for both, you'll play both. You'll play 25 to 30 minutes if you're fantastic in both ends. So
Shea Weber did both.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, it depends. But there, I think it's encouraging for the future that we can talk about it and we have all those different options. So the more options you have, the better chance that you actually end up getting bona fide first unit power play guys and penalty kill guys. Yeah.
All right. Somebody said Reinbacher is not going to be on the team. We were talking when we were all talking within 3 years. Okay, that's what we were talking about when we said Mailloux with Lane Hudson. We were saying within 3 years. When we were talking about the penalty kill or on the power play, we were talking about Gooley and Reinbacher. It's all within 3 years, even though, of course, Gooley is on the team already. Lane Hudson should play as a forward. This coming in from Marco Mastro. Grant, we'll end it on this note. You want to comment to Marco? He says Lane Hudson should play as a forward.
Well, I understand where that's coming from. I mean, he could. He's got the ability to play as a forward. But
concerned that he'd have to battle big players in front of the net as a defenseman.
Right.
And a lot of people don't think he'll be able to do that at the National Hockey League level.
Yeah. And Ramage had a couple interesting comments about that.
Oh, yeah?
That I'm not going to divulge.
You know what? If I was running a business and selling prescriptions for an independent scouting service, I wouldn't either. You, my friend, are becoming quite the entrepreneur lately. You're becoming business savvy. Business savvy.
Yeah, he's bound and determined, and he's always proved guys wrong. That he's gonna play top 4 defenseman in the NHL, and I would not bet against him.
Grant, always fun, always very informative. If you take a look at the comments right now live on YouTube, you are a big hit with everyone watching, and I think we've seen that also in the views that the Sick Recruits Draft Cast has been getting over the past couple of episodes, which just started up a couple of weeks ago. You and Shane Gaumont, who's at Master Control right now. So good for you. I particularly like the story of how you bumped into Pierre Gauthier, Bob Gainey, and Trevor Timmins.
Yeah.
Last show, you asked me if I was listening and I was watching. You bumped into them in a parking lot, and you said all nice guys, and then you said, well, the 2 of them were, and you got a couple of numbers. You got Gauthier's number, and you got Trevor Timmins' number, and then you started talking. Anyways, if you didn't see that, that's just some of the stuff that you're missing on Grant McCagg and Shane Gaumont, the Sick Recruits Draft Cast. Of course, subscribe to their YouTube channel. It's absolutely free, as is this one. And we thank you very much. Great, Grant, have a great night, bud. We'll talk to you soon.
Really appreciate it, Tony. Thank
it's
you.
me that appreciates it. Thank you very much. All right. If you're watching on YouTube right now, like it, share it with your friends. Comment Sick, S-I-C-K, S-I-C-K, S-I-C-K. And if you're going to watch us on Apple, leave us a 5-star review. It's our way, really, of feeling the love. I want to thank all of you for watching. We were about close to 800 strong at one point. I think we're in the 750s or so on YouTube Live. Then add to that Facebook Live, and then add to that Twitter Live. Those are pretty good numbers for a Wednesday, August 16th, considering the Montreal Canadiens played their last game of the regular season on Thursday, April 13th. May, June, July, August. 4 months and 3 days ago. And we have these kind of numbers. It's pretty nice. 66 Spinning says, what's Monique's number? I'm not giving you Monique's number. As a matter of fact, I don't have Monique's number anymore because that black book is no longer in my possession. My wife threw it in a fireplace a long time ago. Darcy says, congratulations on your son. Thank you. He's playing U19. In Portugal, and he's having a good time. And his mother he went by himself a couple of months back for 2 weeks trial, made the team, came back for about a month, then went back, was alone for about, and still is alone, but my wife went to visit in the last week, and then she'll be coming back this week. And then when she comes back, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go watch his first couple of games of the season. So, but the Sick Podcast is going to continue. It's definitely going to continue. I'm bringing the laptop. I'm bringing the microphone. I'm bringing the headsets. And the only thing that's going to change is going to be, the backdrop, because I'm not going to be able to have this backdrop that you're seeing right here. Obviously, I can't take it with me. We'll probably be in a hotel. We'll probably be in a terrace. Who knows? We'll probably be outside. I'll probably have to pre-record a couple, because if I do them live, 10 p.m. is 3 a.m. in the morning in Portugal. And if I talk pretty loud at 3 a.m., I'm probably going to get arrested. And I don't want to get arrested because I want to do this for a very long time. So a little bit of patience with me, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Wanted to be honest and transparent with you. So there you have it. as I always have been. Am I bringing the spritz? You know what? It's so hot there right now that I'm going to have to bring the spritz. Here, 1 spritz, 2 spruts, the back, the hair, the face, the ears, the arms, the hands. So much so that I even distracted Grant tonight. He said, you got to stop, Tony. I'm getting all distracted. So we stopped. All right. For Shane Gaumont at Master Control, he's Gaumont. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Bittt, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.